Hey guys, in this video, we'll go over the Ellie Shiny Seal event and look at what the good items in the exchange store are. This video will be for people who want to know what items to prioritize and the best way to use those items. So what even is the Ellie Shiny Seal event? It's another basic seal event which lasts until August 29th. You get seals from doing all content, including defeating monsters, gathering, and fishing. You can also get up to 6 seals a day for logging in for 90 minutes, which is actually pretty good. You then use these seals to trade in for different items in the exchange shop. That brings us to the next part of the video, which are all the items you can exchange for this event. The event store has some pretty good items, with the top items being an Advice of Valks 100 stack and a Shakatu's Resplendent box. The only disappointing part about this event is that the regular exchanges, which are the exchanges you can do an infinite amount of times after you complete the family exchanges, only include a 1G gold bar. That means that after you complete all your exchanges, the Ellie seals are only going to be worth 100,000 silver each, which is basically nothing. The event basically ends after you buy all the things in the seal store. You get a decent amount of seals just AFK fishing. I get about 3 an hour, so it's pretty easy to get all items without doing much. With that being said, let's look at all the items that are worth it in this store. Starting from the top, we have the Advice of Valks 100 stack for 50 seals each. This can only be exchanged one time for the entire event. Because these are used to enhance almost all pieces of gear, the value of Advice of Valks does vary pretty heavily. I would say for a 100 stack, it's worth around 1 to 1.5 billion silver. It does heavily depend on how you value stacks, but around this number is generally acceptable. Granted, stacks have been getting easier and easier to get, and if you don't really enhance, you could say that these are worth a little bit less. However, if we value the stack at 1.25 billion silver, we get about 25 million silver each seal, which is pretty good. Generally with these events, I'd recommend most people always get the big stack trade-in, as it's usually a decent deal. Even though I barely enhance, saving them for later is always a really good option. Moving on to the next item is the Shakatu's Resplendent box. These are also 50 seals each and can be exchanged once. As I have calculated in another video, the value of these boxes is around 500 million silver each, which gives around 10 million silver per seal. The video I did on this is a bit older. Cron silver prices have changed to be higher, but accessories have gone down in price. Because of this, these Shakatu's Resplendent boxes are still around 500 million silver each. Granted, these boxes are a lot of fun, so even though the average amount of silver you'll get is 10 million silver per seal, if you do like RNG and want to chance it, it's not an awful trade to do. There is really nothing unique about this box though, other than its extremely rare items. Most items are just basic accessories that you can buy for silver. Next up is the Enhancement Help Kit 2. This box only costs 15 seals and you can trade for it 3 times. Inside the box is 10 Valks Cries, 20 Blackstones, 10 Memory Fragments, and 10 Sharps. In total, with the current market silver values, this box is worth about 118 million silver total, or 7.9 million silver per seal. Keep in mind that this valuation does have Valks Cries at 3 times Cron prices, so if you don't ever use Valks Cries, then this box will only be about half of that at 50 million silver. It is pretty decent silver though, but should be left until the end to trade in, as it doesn't give anything exclusive and only average silver. After that is the Life Enhancement Help Kit 2, which is also 15 seals and can be exchanged 3 times. This kit includes 5 concentrated magical black gems, 5 scorched fragments, 7 black gems, and 15 black gem fragments. In total, it's about 109 million silver or 7.2 million silver per seal. It's basically the same thing as the previous kit, only silver but nothing special. Because of that, this exchange should also be left until the end, unless you need to use some of these items immediately. Next up is an Advice of Valks 60 stack. These stacks are around 200 million silver each and has the same caveats we mentioned for the 100 stack, as stack value can vary heavily based on the player. However, these are only 15 seals each and can be exchanged 3 times, which is pretty good. That makes these about 13 million silver per seal. 60 stacks are your standard stacks for tapping Tet boss gear or Tri Black Stars, so they are usually a pretty sought after stack. It may not be as good as a 100 stack, but still pretty good value. Next up is Marni's Unstable Fuel. These are also 15 seals each and can be exchanged 3 times. Because you get 50 Marni's Unstable Fuels, its silver value is 500 million silver since each fuel is 10 million silver each. This makes Marni's fuel give 33 million silver value per seal. Marni's fuels are also pretty useful if you're tagging gear over to a tagged character, but are also given away during events a lot, so may be less valuable to some players. If you don't really tag gear, then this won't be as useful since you can't really sell them back for silver. However, if you do use these to tag gear, then this is a pretty good trade-in for its silver value. After that, we have Laura's Warm Black Tea. This can be traded in for 15 seals, also 3 times this event. This doesn't really have a silver value as gathering drop rate or gathering experience can't really be valued in terms of silver. However, if you are gathering or doing any life skilling, these are extremely useful since it can increase your experience. If you're gathering, the extra drop rate does increase the chances of getting Kaphras, Dust, and Sharps, but not the base mats that you are getting, like Meats or Bloods. Because of this, it can add a decent amount of silver to gathering, but it's not required since it doesn't drop the main items. The value of these if you lifeskill is pretty good, so I would always recommend the lifeskillers prioritize these after getting some of the top items. Next up is another lifeskilling item, the Energy Gourd Bottles. These are also 15 seals and can be traded in 3 times. The thing about these bottles is that it's pretty difficult to tie a good silver value to them. They give 100 energy each, so technically worth twice the largest energy pot, but can also be stacked with energy pots so they add extra value. Energy pots are also extremely pre-ordered, so it would be easy to argue that they are worth more than their max price. However, since I had to put a silver value, I just put 57 million silver as that is what 10 regular energy pots are worth, which gives around 3.8 million silver per seal. However, if you're gathering or using energy for an extended period of time, these items would definitely be worth more silver, as it allows you to extend gathering sessions for quite a bit. I would say that though its silver value looks low on paper, I would prioritize these over the enhancement help kits, as it gives additional value that can't be bought for silver. This is only for people who use a lot of energy though, like life skillers. Finally, we have Ellie's Magical Elixir, which is the item that this entire event is centered around. This can be traded in for 10 seals 10 times, but do expire after 14 days. These items give a ton of different stats like combat and life experience, along with weight, item drop rate, comma recovery, and death penalty reduction. The biggest thing that people will be after is going to be the 20 drop rate, death penalty reduction, and life skill experience. To get a silver value, we simply took the 20 drop rate you can purchase from the tent, which is 20 million silver per hour, and multiplied that by 10 as the elixir lasts for 10 hours. In total, this elixir at minimum would be 200 million silver each if you only value the drop rate. Since it costs 10 seals, it would be 20 million silver per seal. This item is definitely worth it to get, but does expire after 14 days, which makes it tricky to use. In general though, if you're going to grind or do some life skilling, this elixir is definitely going to be worth it to trade in over the duration of this event. This trade-in may last for a little bit after the event ends, so if you want to chance it, you can save some of these trade-ins, but don't rely on it as you never know what PA might do. The event trade-ins may last a couple months after the event ends, but could also just be immediately removed the patch that this event ends. So you never really know and may not want to risk not getting some of these Ellie's elixirs. But that's basically it for the seal trade-ins. If you complete all these trade-ins before the event ends, you can only trade your seals for 1G gold bars, which are only 100,000 silver. That is a little bit disappointing, but the other items are pretty good, so overall this event is still pretty nice. It's pretty easy to get all these seals if you log in daily and do a little bit of AFK fishing, so definitely can't complain about that. This event does seem a little bit filler post Termin Beach, but PA is likely focusing on KR's new expansion, so it's likely that events are going to be a little bit slower until we get Land of the Morning Light Part 2. For global players or any player of servers that haven't gotten Land of the Morning Light Part 2 yet, most of these events and Pearl store sales are just gonna feel really filler until we get the expansion. Either way, I hope you all learned something from this video, and I hope to see you all next time.